Good morning and welcome to Coffee Ann, the longest-running panel discussion show in American radio. To make a comment or ask a question of the panel, call 401-766-1240 or email coffee@woonsocket.radio.com. And now, let's join the Coffee Ann panel.
It is Coffee Ann here on ON AM and FM. Thanks for joining us on this Wednesday morning. It's March 8th in the year 2023. This is Joe Callahan, and around the Coffee Ann table, we'll say good morning to Amanda LaRose from Navigant Credit Union. Hi, Amanda.
Good morning.
Melissa Smith from the St. Antoine Communities. Hi, Melissa.
Good morning.
And John Ward from right here in Woonsocket. Hi there, John.
Good morning, everyone.
Nice to have you all here. And Melissa, it's time for a first message from the St. Antoine Communities, please.
Great. So for those of you that don't know a lot about St. Antoine Community, we are a large long-term care campus located in North Smithfield, and we're on the line of Blackstone, Mass. and Woonsocket. And on our property, we offer an expansive continuum of services that range from assisted living to short and long-term skilled care. We have a state-of-the-art rehab center, a private hospice suite, as well as a large secured memory care unit. And the two buildings on our property are the Villa at St. Antoine, which is our 76 apartment assisted living facility, and the Residence at St. Antoine, which is our 180-bed short and long-term skilled care facility. So if you are presently at a crossroads with your loved one and trying to determine when is the right time to seek more help and support, I encourage you to reach out to me. I'd be happy to walk you through your options. You can reach me at 401-767-3500. Thank you.
All right, Melissa, thank you very much. All right, to start things off, we're going to say congratulations to Tyler Kolek. He plays basketball for Marquette University. He's the Associated Press Big East Player of the Year. I bring it up because Tyler is from Cumberland.
Wow.
In his freshman year at Marquette.
That's
and he's
a good
the
year.
Player of the Year.
That's a good year.
That's fantastic for him. Not so great for Providence College, but
No.
very good for him. So that's fantastic. All right, so John, right off the bat, I'm looking at the very first paragraph in today's call.
My name's in it?
No, it's not. It might be a little, not in the first paragraph anyway. But it just says, and this is a story by Stella Lawrence, representatives from two firms involved with the Woonsocket wastewater treatment plant told the Woonsocket City Council, that the plant is capable of running efficiently despite the third major malfunction in less than a year. Do you believe them? Go.
Yes. Yes, the mechanical systems in place can work. There are problems with a gravity thickener, and there are problems with the quality of what's being placed into our treatment facility that can easily, well, not so easily, but can throw off the biological balance of the process that's separating and treating the fluids that come in and discharging cleaner water out into the river. There are things that happen because of either carelessness or trying to overburden the system because the volume that's coming into Synagro is more than the plant can deal with. So there's a complex set of problems that lead to these discharges, but they are avoidable. And when this gravity thickener is repaired, upgraded, modernized, made whole again, it will help towards solving that problem too. Unfortunately, it's the kind of thing where it was noted that it would have to be done last June. There was an August memo speaking to making it important to fix. It wasn't really, I don't know how much was done between August of last year and now, but now it has become urgent, and we've authorized money to repair it.
But aren't they a private
borrowing? No,
aren't they a private company?
No, they are, but all of the wastewater treatment plant and the facility Synagro operates are owned by the city. Okay. The whole thing, and the gravity thickener tank is actually apparently not under anybody's contract. If you watch the council meeting at one point, Director D'Agostino looked back at the engineers and said, and sort of a my cousin Vinny kind of tone, and who could have solved this problem? And he didn't answer his own question. Yeah. It's always the other guys.
Somebody else.
Well, the somebody else happens to be whoever set up the initial contracts to privatize the operation of the wastewater treatment plant, to not include the gravity thickener as part of their responsibility to to maintain. But either way, it would have been the city paying the bill to take care of it
Okay.
because it's city equipment. Synagro actually spends a lot of money on capital, upgrading their process and equipment and facility. The wastewater treatment plant is solely maintained, other than routine maintenance, is solely for capital needs taken care of by the city. So the city would have had to pay the bill. It's just that it didn't get triggered because Jacobs wasn't responsible for that tank and Synagro wasn't responsible for that tank, and nobody ever said together, hey guys, we've got to take care of this. Until
There's a problem.
the color of the water in the river changed a
That's
couple
right.
of times.
Okay. Do they have an ETA when this whole thing can
As,
be?
as I said, I think it'll be at least a year before the thing can be corrected and operating properly.
Now, they were turning away trucks from other towns. Are they
Well,
still doing that?
They were turning away trucks that were bringing in liquid. They were still allowing the solid cake for the communities that were preparing it that way so that that could be sent through the incineration process. And I believe they're ramping up the allowance of how many trucks can be brought in with liquid to dump off.
Okay.
But it's being carefully monitored so that there's nothing, hopefully, another discharge is avoided and the process can be cleaned up.
You like how they use the good words like gravity thickener?
I wanted to ask,
It's pretty simple. It's pretty
impressed
simple.
by your technical knowledge, honestly.
You dump a lot of stuff into a tank, and there's a slowly rotating wheel that allows the solids and the liquids to be separated, and gravity takes the solids to the bottom, and the liquid stays on the
The
top.
cream rises to the top, huh?
Yeah, pretty much. That's
the way to
pretty
look
much-
at it.
That's pretty much what we're talking about. And then they remove the solids, and they remove the fluids, and they put more in, and gravity does what gravity does.
There's a lot of random knowledge in your head. Did you know that? There's a lot of stuff that you have some
Well,
technical
if you were
insight
watching-
into when we
if-
talk on the show.
If you were watching the director of Public Works on Monday's meeting, you would know that I don't know anything because I've never worked for Woonsocket.
Oh. Well, that's a whole nother.
Sensed a little
yeah.
sarcastic undertone there.
Well, we were talking
okay.
about the need to create an enterprise fund accounting director kind of thing as a placeholder for the finance director who was going to leave but was persuaded to stay behind if she worked at a different job for the same pay. So we're creating an entire $110,000 liability just to deal with the water accounting and sewer accounting. And so I was explaining how unnecessary it was because it's simply what's already done now by other people. And the director pointed out that I don't know anything about accounting for these situations, despite being a finance director in a town that pays bills, payroll, collects revenue, sends out bills.
All right.
Things of that nature. So because I don't work in Woonsocket, so anything you hear me say clearly is not true or knowledge because I've never worked in Woonsocket, and so I don't know anything.
Okay.
At least not compared to Steve D'Agostino.
All right. Moving on to another subject. How about what happened at Logan Airport on that flight from
my
L.A.
goodness.
to Boston? And where the guy, like 45 minutes before you land, and that's about when, about 30 minutes. That's when they start the descent to wherever you're landing. And so, about 45 minutes out, he decides to get up and
Open the door.
Tried to open the door, and that didn't work.
Wanted to get a
And,
breath of fresh air.
And then he lunged that. And then he went after a flight attendant. By
Yes.
the way, this man is Francisco Severo Torres. He lives in Leominster, Massachusetts. And but if you read the account of the woman from East Greenwich that was on the flight with her husband and her daughter, flying back, it took 10 to 15 guys
Yeah.
to tackle this guy,
Was he,
and 4 of them to
was he-
sit on
And
him.
they
was he
sat on him.
medicated?
Well, they didn't get into that. They do say he was clearly unstable. But it took 4 to sit on him, but he kept fighting. And so when one guy would get tired, they had to rotate. Okay, you come off and you go on
Yeah, for 45 minutes.
for 45 minutes to keep this guy down. And because they tried to zip tie him, and he kept breaking the zip ties.
Oh my.
So maybe he was on something.
Or
where it gives you, like,
unmedicated and
a little extra
pure
strength.
adrenaline.
To the point where the men were taking their belts off here, use this to restrain him to a chair.
If you
I
have
don't know if it quite
4
worked.
adult bodies sitting on you,
I don't
let's
know
just
how
even
you
talk
can
about like
move.
oxygen restriction, like just
Yeah.
and you're thrashing. It's hard to imagine that.
Now the other point
I
is,
can't imagine being able to keep it up for 45 minutes.
well,
That's
when
right.
he was actually when he was arrested. By the way, he's in Central Falls right now. If you want to go visit,
No, I'm good.
he's at the prison
I'm
down
good.
there. He attacked guards down there.
Did he?
And I mentioned to Dave
He
off
needs
the
to be
air.
medicated,
I go, if
sedated.
you're attacking flight attendants and it's not working, what makes you think you can take on the guards?
Yeah.
I don't know. But the other question is, he attacked one of the flight attendants with a broken spoon, a broken metal spoon, not plastic. So it just leads you to believe. How do you get
that up
how do you get the spoon on? Now, if you bring the spoon on and it's intact, it's not really a weapon. So maybe that's how he got through TSA.
Probably.
So it's about a 3-hour flight from LA to Boston, right? Is he working on the spoon the
whole
entire time,
But-
trying to break it?
If you're inside the airport in the terminal, there's restaurants there that have silverware that you
Very good point.
You could literally take one right
Very
from
good
there,
point.
and now you're sitting at your gate, and he could have already had it done
Busted, yeah.
before.
I wonder why he picked a spoon and
Of course,
not a
why would you
fork
pick,
or
I
a
was gonna
knife.
say, why would you pick
I
a
know.
spoon?
Steak knife at that point.
Inconspicuous? I don't know.
He clearly needs some time in a confined space.
Yes. They were very happy that the fellow passengers acted quickly, and he's at the Wyatt Detention Center now in CF to.
We were
waiting.
talking about this the other day, and somebody said, if you were in a situation where this was happening, what would you do? And I said, absolutely jump in and help. Like, there's no question in my mind. I'm not going to sit back. I'm not going to be one of the ones that grab my phone and start recording, right? Definitely not going to be me. But I would probably be the one jumping in and helping if my daughter wasn't there. If my daughter was there, I might be a little more hesitant.
hang back a
But
little.
if it was just myself, I would
I'd let
protect-
everybody sit on him and then do a mom lecture. Why do you think this is necessary?
Can we talk about
You're
your
hurting
feelings?
others. I know.
Talk about your
Did something
feelings.
happen in your childhood?
Now this woman from East Greenwich, Lisa Olson, says she didn't know that he got to the door, and that they re-secured it. She says I think she would have panicked a little more if she'd known that someone was trying to get the door
There are
open.
alarms on those doors, I would think. No?
I don't know if there are alarms. on
And
those. I don't
can't
think.
just
I think
be
he,
like-
he didn't get it open.
Even open a door
I think he
in
turned.
flight?
I think he turned it because they do say
did-
that the flight attendant re-secured the door.
I never knew that you could actually do something like that while the plane's on.
Yeah,
off
there
the
has to be a
ground.
two-step process.
You would think so.
You can't just undo the latch and push, and
Push.
it opens. There has to be like a undo the latch, put a
Do-
code
do-
in.
I don't know if there's a
No,
code.
I
But
don't
you
know
can't,
about
there's
that.
no code.
I don't. Think
I don't
so.
No,
know.
I'm just thinking that once they engage certain mechanisms in the plane to start moving,
sensor or
you would
something.
think there was some sort of automated locking mechanism that would
Mm-hmm.
force, like,
I know the pilots are notified if a door opens, so they know that something's up. So
I was more thinking about when the story broke simultaneously, I guess, in the same day at Logan Airport, there was also like a fender bender. There were
Yes.
2 flights. And I was thinking about like the director of communications or director of PR, whatever the person is for
Oh, what a
Logan
day.
Airport. What a day. Like, how do you script like 2 narratives about those 2 occurrences happening on the same day? That's not a good day. That's not a good day for that person. No.
Tough day at the office for that one. But the woman said there was no panic from the passengers, which is great, and that they had the guys just jump into action and say we're not putting up with
Which
any
is
of this crap. So
Kudos to those guys for helping out.
bang, and
Because it
down
could
you
have been
go.
a lot worse.
It could have been. So
I wonder
There's
if the
a-
no
there's a
panic
little-
is just annoyance at this point. Like, I
Maybe
wonder
it
if the
is.
the no reaction is people are just, are you
not putting up with
serious?
this.
Like, this is
Nope.
just.
I've only seen a few cell phone videos, and it's of the guy, but he's just walking up and down the flight,
Mm-hmm.
and he might be ranting about something, and someone says, "Well, here's a nut job. Let's film
Well, he
him."
must be very strong.
Before he does
Did he look very
anything
strong?
else. Well, he's late 20s, I would say, or maybe early 30s. So you didn't look overly muscular, but
Did he look like The Rock?
no,
like
didn't look
Dwayne
like The Rock.
Johnson?
No, nothing
Big
like
muscles?
that. Just but
If
you're
he's coming at me, I'm not
if
going
you're
to.
You're changing your story.
if you're aggravated like that and you're on your mission. Oh, he did say he was going to kill all the men, but he was letting the women and children live.
Oh, that's great.
He did mention that, although I don't know how. If he's trying to open up the door, crash the airplane, it sounds like everybody dies. So
Yeah.
I don't know.
Wow.
So that's what. That's
Well,
what,
hopefully he gets some help, and
oh, he's getting a lot more than that right now.
he will
I
be
think.
banned from flying for a very long time.
Yep. So, and luckily these things are very few and far between. So that's what went on there at Logan. Always a good time. All right, Melissa, time for a second message from the San Antoine communities, and then we'll move right along.
Okay, so this is actually an announcement to save the date. So on April 20th, it's a Thursday, there is the 12th Annual Alzheimer's Caregiver Journey Conference. And St. Antoine's participated in this for I don't even know how many years. I think it was interrupted just for a couple years during the pandemic, at least for the last 10. We've been present at that event. It is a wonderful conference, and this is really me just sharing with you that if you are right now on the early stages of caring for a loved one with Alzheimer's and you're struggling to understand, what the process is going to be like and how this disease is going to develop and impact your life and what supports are out there, I really encourage you to attend this event. It's a wonderful event, tons of resources present, including ourselves, lots of advice, lots of giveaways, lots of materials, wonderful guest speakers, lectures take place that day. It's free for you to attend, and also, like I said, you can come by and see me, get some information and advice on what St. Antoine can do to help support you when the time is right. So that's on April 20th at the Crown Plaza. There's already information online on the Rhode Island Alzheimer's Association website. If you need more information, you can also reach me at 401-767-3500. I'd be happy to share with you a little bit more about the event and how we can help you in the future. Thank you.
All right, Melissa, thanks. The Coffee and program will continue. You can call in comments or questions at 766-1240.
Right now is the time for a tune-up on your vehicle. Charlie's Tire and Service Center reminds everyone that they are an authorized dealer of name brand tires like BF Goodrich, Uniroyal, Michelin, and Cooper Tires. They also offer the best in mechanical repairs and service. You can't beat Charlie's Tire, 825 South Main Street, Bellingham. Charlie's Tire also offers the best in truck and high-performance tires, and they accept all major credit cards. So for top service at fair prices, for tires or mechanical repairs, it's Charlie's Tires. Remember, to get a tune-up on your vehicle, to keep your car running smooth, call Charlie's Tires, 508-883-1211.
The Coffee and Panel is enjoying coffee from Down East Coffee in Pawtucket. They're a 62-year-old family business that roasts all its coffee right here in Rhode Island. Founded originally as Excellent Coffee Company, they provide great coffee to food service establishments throughout New England. All right, it is Coffee and here on ON Radio. Thanks for joining us. This is Joe Callahan with Amanda LaRose, Melissa Smith, and John Ward. And I don't know if you heard about this little story right here. The University of Massachusetts in Dartmouth is accused of covering up sexual assault and harassment allegations against a campus police officer. Now, why do I bring it up? Because it's UMass Dartmouth. And what's the big deal? It's so far away. Well, the allegations come from a report issued by the town of Blackstone, right over the line, over the hiring of this man for its police force. So it's reported that the college told this man, who is David Lawton, to quietly resign. Please resign and go away, and we don't want to deal with you anymore. And so that made it possible for him to apply at the Blackstone Police Department, and they hired him.
So they didn't formally terminate him or investigate the allegations of assault.
Right.
They just said, go away.
Please quit.
So there's nothing on his record. There's no...
That's right.
And now he applied for a police department job.
In Blackstone, and they hired him.
And they hired him without doing a background check.
That's what happens with teachers. That's what happens with bad Section 8 tenants.
Okay.
You know, I'm not going to evict you, but if you find another apartment, I'll tell everybody how wonderful you are.
However, this
If you
man...
get a job in another district, we won't press charges against you.
But he was forced to resign in January, just a couple of months ago, in Blackstone, when the town officials learned that he was accused of sexually assaulting and harassing a UMass Dartmouth student years ago. I don't know how many years ago, but they found out about it and said, we can't have you on the police department anymore, so please go away. And so they got rid of him.
So now Blackstone police own him at this point and can't really terminate him.
No,
because-
they have terminated him.
Oh, no, they did
They
terminate him.
forced
Did I
him to
miss that part?
resign. They forced him to resign.
I thought that happened at UMass. I didn't hear you say that.
No,
So
UMass
Blackstone,
did
sorry.
that too.
In two locations. So now
gosh.
Watch out.
But does he have
Local
the right
police
to sue
department.
Blackstone Police because he wasn't terminated over anything he did necessarily while he was in charge here? It was
No.
over allegations that came from there that were
That's
not
right.
proven. So he's going to end up
That's right.
suing the town for wrongful termination.
Well, I don't know if he'll
Don't
sue
you
the
feel like
town.
people these days are like that?
It's, I would think it's possible that he would consult with an attorney and try to do that. But
Stay tuned for
because
next
he
week's
hasn't-
story.
Blackstone-
I feel like
Blackstone,
Convicted of anything.
Blackstone Police Department is a pretty small
it
police
is
department.
small. I don't think it's going to.
I'm not sure how
I'm
welcome
just
he would be
thinking,
big
you know, if I'm
coming back.
him,
But
you
do
just
you-
fired me over allegations from another place of employment that were not proven.
But is UMass Dartmouth, are they covering something up by saying, we really want you to quit and go away, and so we don't have to deal with this?
It happens a lot. You hear about that a lot,
Yeah.
unfortunately.
Is there a laptop involved?
No, Hunter.
Just
I
checking.
don't think so. And I do wonder how many years ago are we talking?
Yeah, that says he is.
And how many
Is it 5? Is it-
allegations and
yeah,
how many.
Is it one student? Is it a few students? I don't know. So, but I think he's going to have trouble finding a police job.
I mean,
now.
well, it's just all right. Now let me give it an angle, which may or may not be the case at all. Probably
Mm-hmm.
isn't. But he was working as security, right?
No,
So-
it says University of Mass
Police or
Dartmouth
security?
Campus police officer.
Campus police officer. So I don't know if that's a glorified security or actually a sworn officer.
I don't know if they carry firearms in
But
Mass.
if it's more like a glorified security, this could be something about somebody that was 23 or 24 who started dating a student and then broke up, and he started calling her and wouldn't leave her alone and harassing her and got upset about losing the love of his life, and then was told to go away.
But
and
there is an
then-
assault
and
in
then-
here too,
Well, that's what I say. He
Yeah.
wouldn't leave her alone and
Yeah.
was harassing her and tried to have his way and was told to go away. So it's a question of the level of criminality, I guess. Mm-hmm. And that's the part that's not known because
No.
the school won't let out that kind of information. So, but as I said, it could be something where he's young and in love with a student and then it falls apart. Who knows? There's a million possibilities.
Oh,
there.
sure. But looks like
But
he's
the
out of
real,
a
the
job
real
at the
story
moment.
is the school covered it up.
Well, looks like they tried to and say
Yes.
we're not
And it leaked
pursuing.
out.
We won't pursue this if you quit.
Yeah,
So-
and I hate to say it, but it's unfortunately what happens oftentimes in the teaching profession,
Yep.
where somebody who is not doing the right thing or is not competent to do the job is counseled out without any kind of negative remarks so that they can go gain employment elsewhere doing the same thing and being the same kind of problem somewhere else, because the point is it's not my problem anymore. And Section 8 landlords do that with tenants,
Yeah.
where they simply
You would-
induce them to leave and go somewhere else without saying that they're destroying the property.
You would think that the student
Would file
that
charges.
was file charges on their own, unless they were persuaded not to for whatever reason, or they just. You hear it a lot. Oh, I just want to forget about it and let it go away.
I think there's a lot more layers than that in
Yeah.
in the college world, college realm. I mean, just sharing from my perspective with my husband's occupation, that there's all kinds of committees for every kind of department, for
Yeah.
every kind of allegation, and then there's review processes or whatever. And
If you notice, a
don't
lot
think
of
it was
these issues,
just-
a lot of these issues on college campuses these days, they almost prevent students from going to the police because they have to go
have
through
all
the
these
campus
layers first.
process,
Really?
the administrative procedures. Oh, absolutely.
Why can't you just skip that?
Well, I think you can,
Yeah.
but they don't seem to encourage that in many cases.
Now, for your husband, Melissa, who does work on a college campus,
yep.
how many meetings, how many does he have to attend every year to talk about his interaction with the students and what's appropriate and not appropriate and things like that?
Oh my God, it's infinite.
I-
I mean,
I'm
especially because he's in
sure.
college athletics. I think there's so much attention on the reputation of college athletes getting involved in sexual harassment cases or coaches that are, inappropriate with their student athletes. And there's just committees for everything. There's educations for everything. And I'm not saying it's not necessary. I'm not trying to diminish the necessity for it. I think that it's just the world that we live in now, and everyone has to protect themselves, and departments have to protect themselves. And so the committees, a lot of the committees that he participates in are like across the board. Every department head or a chosen person from each department has to be on this like general committee. So there's tiers and layers and steps of how severe an allegation is and who's involved, and is it someone who wants to stay anonymous? Is it someone who's bringing charges against? Like, there's just, but yeah, they have a lot of checks and balances before you actually hit. It's almost making sure you're confident in your description of the occurrence that took place, and it's been vetted out by a committee, and they support you, and they're here to protect you, and then it goes to that next tier.
When my son graduated from college, he's 22 years old. The first job he got was at the college as an ambassador. He went around and did fairs to get like a recruit to come to his college. My wife has said, "Well, this would be great. He gets to stay on campus. He wasn't dating anybody." I said, "There's always a whole new crop of girls coming in." I said, "Maybe you can
Spoken
find
like a true dad.
And it's like I go, "Maybe you can find someone there." And he went, "Oh no." I mean, that's one of the first things he was told as an employee. As an employee, you cannot date the students.
No.
until they become not a student. It's just it is
it
just
happens.
verboten. You just cannot do it. He'll be if he's found out, fired immediately.
Right.
And I'm like, wow, I didn't realize they had those kind of rules.
Oh, there's lots of rules. It doesn't mean that they're always followed, but I
Well,
think,
right.
I think the hardest scenarios that my husband's brought home for stories have involved, disgruntled student athlete, upset with the coach for not getting playing time, and then all of a sudden the script is flipped into
It's an accusation.
he
or
assaults
something?
me at practices, he this, that, whatever. I mean, it's hard to vet out the truth. You don't have cameras everywhere, you don't have whatever,
Right.
and then you're trying to do like research with the team, like what's everyone's account of what's happening, and then some players turn on other. It's just like so
Oh, what a soap opera, huh?
drama filled. It really is. But I think it goes back to like, who am I thinking of? Who's the coach that was completely a basketball coach? White hair. He got fired for being like,
Bobby Knight.
thank you. You read my mind. It would have taken me another 30 seconds.
Holy, that was
At
I mean, it
Indiana.
goes back to that example. And I
Okay.
think
He had
that,
he had a different idea of what it meant to take a seat, right?
Yes, yes. So it's, we could go on for hours with examples, but there's
All right.
just so much speculation. And
So, John, you brought it up about the covering up of the cop and how landlords do it with Section 8 housing. And someone just called in 766-1240. Once again, it's the power of the landlord over the hopeless tenant.
Right.
And when does it end, or where does it end? Is time for a
Well,
change.
there is that too. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know necessarily that I'd equate the two. I'm just talking about the tenants. Some tenants are good tenants and landlords take advantage of them. Some tenants are bad tenants and landlords are victim of them. Especially when there's tenant protections that allow people who are destroying your property to stay there for another 6 months to get through an eviction process. But at the same time, there are those landlords who go out of their way to make it miserable for some people and make it hard for them to gain access to a safe place to live because they don't want to take certain types of tenants.
Okay.
The hard part is General Assembly is working on legislation that would make it tougher for landlords to actually pre-screen and evaluate and reject. But the trouble with that is these are private property owners, and you are now imposing burdens on them that they may not be willing to take. And then they sell it off, and when they sell it off because they don't want to deal with it, it goes to some out-of-town landlord who then lets it deteriorate and collects the rents and doesn't care what happens to the property because eventually it's going to just get, all they do is suck the cash out and don't really take care of the property, and so the tenants have to move anyway because eventually it gets condemned.
All right. We're going to take a break here on the Coffee and program. It's time for the forecast, which is being brought to you by Unbound.org.
Partly sunny skies today with a high of 44 degrees and a north wind up to 25 miles per hour. Tonight, mostly cloudy skies, overnight low of 31. Thursday's weather mostly cloudy and 43. Friday, mostly sunny and 46. Saturday, a 50% chance of snow showers before noon and then rain showers afternoon, high of 40. Sunday, partly sunny and 42. Monday, 30% chance of rain, mostly cloudy, 42. And on Tuesday, a 40% chance of rain and snow, mostly cloudy, high of 42.
Currently outside the Navigant Credit Union broadcast studio at the corner of Park Ave and Kennedy Street, we have partly cloudy skies and 36 degrees. A girl in Kenya dreams of becoming a doctor, an elder in Guatemala dreams of being part of a community. Reach out and change the world, and it will change your own. Unbound.org.
Krakow Deli Bakery and Smokehouse offers authentic homemade Polish food to make your next meal real special. Try our many varieties of hot and fresh pierogi with onions and dirty sour cream, or pick up golubki, kielbasa, babkas, or some fresh rye bread. We also offer a large selection of specialty and imported goods. We're open Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays from 9 to 6, Wednesdays 9 to 5, and Saturdays 8 to 5. Follow us on Facebook to learn about our weekly specials. Located at 855 Social Street in Woonsocket, Krakow Deli Bakery and Smokehouse has all the authentic Polish foods you love.
Lincoln and North Smithfield Urgent Care Centers are Northern Rhode Island's modern comprehensive urgent cares devoted to the best family health care available. They have board-certified doctors on their staff who will make you feel safe, comfortable, and reassured, especially when you're in doubt and concerned about the severity of your discomfort. Both centers feature on-site labs and x-ray facilities, as well as drug screens, complete physicals, flu shots, occupational medicine, including workers' comp and free blood screening. North Smithfield Urgent Care, 594 Great Road, North Smithfield, 768-3400. Open Monday through Friday 9 to 8 and Saturday 9 to 5. Lincoln Urgent Care, located across from Lincoln Mall, 333-9595. Open weekdays 9 to 9, Saturday and Sunday 9 to 5. You do have a choice.
1, 2, 3, go.
Go where?
Tell them.
Tell them what?
Never mind. That is Manny Brando, and I am Virginia. And together we bring you the Manny Brando Show every Sunday from 8:30 to 9:30 a.m. over ON, AM, and FM.
I like to say something now.
No, time's up. It's Sundays, 8:30 to 9:30 a.m.
Too early for me.
Too bad.
All right, it's Coffee In here on ON, AM, and FM. Thanks for joining us. This is Joe Callahan here with John Ward, Melissa Smith, and Amanda LaRose from Navigant Credit Union. And Amanda, time for your first message from Navigant Credit Union.
Thank you so much. So today I'm just going to talk about some job openings that we have at Navigant Credit Union. We have 24 branches now, from all the way from Pawtucket and Central Falls to Warren to Westerly and back around the state. We have tons of job openings in all departments and areas of the bank and the financial institution. Right here in our Woonsocket branch, we have a member service representative position open. It is a desk position, waiting on members and helping members with all of their needs. If you would like more information or to look at all of our job openings, go to www.navigantcu.org. Go type in careers and you'll see all of our openings. If you have any questions or need any more information, please give us a call at 401-233-4700 to be in touch with our HR department.
All right, there, Amanda. Thank you very much. Okay, there's a bill that's in the being put in to the Rhode Island legislature, at least into the House, and it will allow, I don't know if this is needed in the state of Rhode Island, but the bill will allow human composting.
Ew.
Yeah. Well, the representative of Portsmouth, Michelle McGraw, says it's a greener alternative to traditional burial or cremation methods. All right. Now, the natural organic decomposition of the body is done at specialized facilities. I don't know where these are. I don't know if there's one in Rhode Island, but once the process is complete, then, I love this, the material, which is really the body, can then be scattered in a designated area, or the family can come and collect it, and you can spread it on your petunias and your tomatoes.
And they can make it into they have it where it can go into like a capsule type of thing where you put a seed in there for a tree and you can plant it and it turns into a tree.
Yes, I've seen this.
But I watched a video actually on how they do this, and I'm slightly mortified by it.
Really?
Because they invite the family members in to put more compost on top of the body.
Like regular compost?
Well, yeah, because you
Okay.
can't compost a single body.
You need
Right.
stuff to add to it.
You
Like
need
acidic
to add
nature to-
material because
Yeah.
you're constantly mixing it in order to have it actually do the compost.
So you're
Okay,
able to
okay.
lay your loved one onto this dirt, so to speak,
Yeah, and then bring in
you're
more
able
dirt.
to shovel on dirt, like almost
leaves.
like dropping a rose on the casket.
Yeah.
Now you're laying dirt. To me, I don't think that's. I mean, if that's what you're into, I just slightly find that terrifying and would have crazy dreams about that.
Yeah.
All right.
Crazy.
I would rather them just go back to the cremation process. Maybe add a few additional nutrients into that and then take those ashes and throw that in a hole and
Okay.
plant a tree on
I
top
am
of
glad
that. But this
they're
is kind
trying
of
to find this way to be organically
And
creative
greener,
about it,
all
right?
right.
And greener, and being able to give back to the earth, and plant a tree if that's what it is. I just
yeah.
Well, if you-
some of the processes.
I don't know that there's a composting facility for humans
In the state of Rhode Island, okay.
But there was a company, because I serve on the board. Oh, lucky me, I'm the chairman of the board of the Rhode Island Infrastructure Bank, which is a subset of the Commerce Corp. And we had an application for a company that wanted to get some bonding to open a facility in the state where they would incinerate human body parts
Okay.
that would be removed during surgeries. And there's all kinds of human
Oh,
waste,
right. Like
and they wanted to do an
amputated
incineration
body
of it.
parts.
Oh, you should have seen
Okay.
the uproar. It ended up getting blocked by legislation.
Yeah.
They wanted to go to a location. First, they wanted to go someplace in Johnston near the landfill, and there was some pushback on that. Then they picked a site down in Warwick or Coventry or somewhere down there, and the pushback was enormous. And they ended up writing legislation to not allow that kind of program operation to run in the state of Rhode Island. There are several of them around the country. But what they didn't realize was, okay, so the lung that was removed and the heart that was removed, instead of going to an incineration facility,
Where does it go?
the landfill.
We just throw it in with the trash.
That was my thought bubble when you were talking. I was like, how have I not thought of this? Where, if you have a leg amputated, does that
Where'd
leg
it go?
Where does it
go?
I don't know. I guess it goes to
I worked in a
the
hospital for
landfill.
20 years before.
You don't think they
I've
ship
never
it
asked
out of
this
state to be
question.
incinerated?
To somebody else's name? Oh, they might. They might ship it to
I
an
think that
incineration.
might be-
There is one other one in New England, I understand, and there's one down in New Jersey. And they wanted to open one in Rhode Island because there's enough volume to merit.
There's a call for it. There's a market
there's a
for
market.
The only reason I
And-
think that they might ship it out is if it was
They may.
going to the landfill. I think we'd hear a lot more news reports about, oh, we found a
Leg.
leg or an arm or something,
skull.
you know?
Okay.
I
This
just
is like opening up a whole visual that I'm just
It's going
processing.
somewhere,
creepy nightmares tonight.
and someone's doing it, and someone's making money off of it
Yeah.
somewhere
All right.
This
else.
show is going into
All right.
a very odd direction.
You
Can
ready?
we?
This is going to get
Thank
odder.
you.
No, it's going to get
Here we
odder
go.
for you because I saw this and talk about morbid. Although I find it interesting in a morbid kind of way, and I saw this down in New Jersey too, John. And there's a few places around the country where I'm not sure what they call them, but people, it's in their will or whatever. When they die, they're you hear, oh, I'm donating my body to science, and so it goes to a school, and where students can come and study the body as it decomposes. Outside. So it's like on a farm, basically. And so the body is either, laid on the ground. Sometimes they put it up in a tree. I'm not quite sure how. Sometimes they got a suit on or a dress on. Sometimes nothing. And they just come students, like medical
To
students.
see how the body weathers.
Yes, they want to see what happens to it. Okay, you've been dead 1 month. You've been dead 2 months. You've been dead a year. What does it look like? What happens to it? It's all for it's really all for scientific
I've heard
reasons.
about that with livestock. So they do that with pigs and sheep to see what type of form it takes and, how long it takes for larvae and eggs and, the maggots and everything. Again, creepy. Thank you.
Well, it
Thank
is.
You, Joe.
You're welcome. And,
So I'm going to try one more time. So can we take the show in a different
all right,
direction?
all right,
Is
all right.
this
Here we go.
Dad joke.
turning into a very... By the way, this goes back to as well, odd information in your head.
You just pick
a
it up
lot of
and,
stuff
and
up there.
you just keep it.
Just like...
Well, even though he was being asked
to
to
do a Groucho Marx. You don't know the half of it.
I'm just thinking of your wife, the conversations at dinner. Like you always have something to offer.
even though he was being asked to step down, the Rhode Island Senate confirmed Peter Alviti
Yes.
to continue as the head of the Rhode Island Department of Transportation.
Yes.
He became director in 2015, and he continues. The vote yesterday was 35-1. Well, that's pretty good.
Yes. He's quite popular there.
Yep.
He didn't even pay the price for lying about the contamination at the Route 10.
No, that didn't come down on him at all.
No.
Wow.
He brushed that off well.
It went right on to the contractors
Yep.
there, and that he had nothing to do with it. So, all right. So he continues on in his job. Now, here's an important. Did you know that there's a law in Rhode Island for restaurants that they have to ask you if you want a straw?
Yes.
There is a law.
Okay. So now Amanda's got her
I
drink.
frequent pretty much most restaurants that don't do that.
That don't ask you or don't what?
Ask you.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Do you use a straw?
No,
No?
not really. But
I'm a straw
Most of-
user.
Okay, and
Occasionally
Amanda's got a
with
straw in her
less
drink
I am
right
a
now.
straw user.
Oh, okay. I don't use straws that often,
Bud
but
Light doesn't go well with a straw.
but enforcement of this new law has been minimal since it took effect more than a year ago. The Rhode Island Department of Health says it has not fined any businesses for violating the law, as restaurants and other establishments have continued to give customers straws without being asked to do so. They just,
What's the fine? If
I don't know. That's a great question. I don't have that
Well, I have
info.
a more important question. What's the
that?
point?
What's
Yeah.
the point
I
of?
mean,
Well,
with all the things
going
the health
green.
with all the things the health department has to deal with, please, sending somebody out to
Then
do
why make a-
inspections
why
and then
make a law
checking
about
this.
Then why make the law about it?
Well, what's the? Never mind. I was about to.
but now
It's
I'm-
the General Assembly. That's what they do.
All right.
So
I'll leave it
to
at that.
find a way to circumvent asking, right? A lot of places that I visit now just have a container with the straws there, so you don't have to ask
Right.
me if I want a straw, but if I
Right.
want to take one, I can
Voluntarily get
grab
one.
one. It's
so
a grab
on
and
the
go.
it's on the table already,
Yes.
and you just well, that's
Yeah.
a way around that.
I mean,
Yeah.
I think that's how almost all coffee shops are now too. Is you're grabbing your straw. They're not giving you one unless you're in the drive-through.
Okay.
And then there's a sign that says "Ask me for a straw," but they're handing it to you. They're not.
Anyway,
Yeah.
now have you found that are any establishments moving on to paper straws?
Yes.
Yes.
I've encountered one or two of those.
Okay. And now are you just handed the paper straw, or do they
I
still
don't know
they
that I
ask
paid
you?
attention to that,
Yep.
but
They're still just handing it to you.
All
I
right.
can't wrap my brain around them though.
For the straw people,
Mm-hmm.
what are your thoughts on paper straws? Do they last as long? Do they
No.
start
No,
disintegrating?
and
Really?
then halfway through,
Yeah, they get
this will
soggy.
bend in half, and now
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
can't get anything. It's
You're lucky if you
It's
can
just
get,
mush.
You're lucky
Yeah.
if you get through the drink before
Yeah.
it collapses.
I would, at that point, if everything went to paper straws, I would just buy a reusable straw and carry it with me.
Yes.
My son does that. Went to I think it was
'Cause
LL Bean,
especially
I think, and got
like
one of the
iced
steel
coffees
straws.
and things like that.
I
People-
do enjoy
people
the
don't
metal
drink those
ones.
in
Have
10
you
minutes.
have you
They
had a
last
metal straw?
hours.
Have you used them?
I've
Yeah.
seen it. I've
I
seen
have
my
to
brother.
tell you,
my
I
son use
quite
it.
like. I have one in my office that I use inside of my Yeti. But if you like a nice cold sip, it actually your whole mouth is cold because the straw is freezing cold from being in the ice. It's actually not bad. I
And
enjoy it
how often do you remember to clean it?
every day.
Oh, yes.
I throw it in the dishwasher
Very
when I get
smart.
home.
And the dishwasher safe.
They sell like 6-packs of them on Amazon, and I want to say they're like $5. They're not much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
No,
you can
they're
throw them
not
in the
much.
dishwasher.
All
Or
right.
put them in the sink and use one of those little skinny little pipe
Bottle
cleaner
brushes,
looking
yeah.
things. Yeah.
All right.
It's not a huge hurdle. You just got to break a habit. I think is probably if they do make it a law and they stop producing them.
All right. So I guess restaurants were on top of it when it first started, and then you fall back into old habits.
I don't.
Oh, yeah,
I don't
yeah,
know
yeah.
necessarily that they fell back into old habits. I think their customers gave them a look, and they're responsive to the customers because.
Well, the customers say, "What do you? Why are you asking me?" Or,
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think the reaction was probably bad.
of course, I want one.
Like, yeah, or oh, stupid government again. Huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or where's
it's-
my straw? Yeah.
Where's my straw? And it just reaches the point where they say, "Give them a straw."
Well,
there's
at the
some-
end of the day, if you didn't have a straw in this, how would you drink this, right? If it was handed to you, you'd have to take the lid
Take
off,
the lid
right?
off.
So unless they turned around and they spent all this money to remarket a lid without a straw on
Right.
it, right? Or a dual purpose lid, one with a straw, one with a lid to drink, you're now asking businesses to reimagine or reinvent everything and spend more money on all this. So it's easier just to keep the straw in.
But can I ask you a question? We're
Yes.
gonna get technical. We're gonna learn about Amanda's coffee choice here. Do you put sugar in yours?
No.
Okay, so for the people that put sugar in theirs and the sugar in a nice coffee settles to the bottom, that's really where the straw becomes a necessity because you got to suck up the sugar in the bottom. Some people like that. My daughter is one of them.
All right.
But for those that don't put any sugar in, I mean, like Starbucks already does it. They have like the lid on top that has a little side spout so that you don't need a straw, and you actually look ridiculous when you put a straw into it because it's like a weird angle and it pinches it. But that's really, other than that, I mean, if they're shaking it or stirring it before they give it to you, you should be able to drink it out of out a lid like that.
I think we just need
It's
to
changing
go
the
back.
design, is what you're saying.
We,
And
we need to go back to having all of these such that you could have interlocking covers that are stackable so that the companies could use them that effectively represent a child's sippy cup
Right. That's what they
I
kind of
would
look
love
like,
that.
actually.
I would love that.
with a built-in straw.
I know.
And quite frankly, I know now they got mouthpieces on those sippy cups, but I remember long ago they had one that was a cup and it had a hole at the bottom and there was a plastic straw coming up and it stuck out about that high above the cup.
Yeah.
And I don't know if they still make them, but they did sometime
Some
in the past.
smart inventor would be great to make a reusable lid that is multi-purpose, straw or sippy part,
Oh, that an
that you
individual
can
could
literally
keep for
just
themselves.
wash it and put it on every
Different
single
cup.
cup that
then you'd
a
have to have
small,
all the
medium,
cups
large.
made in a uniform size.
Most of them are uniform
They do.
size,
They do seem to
especially
be.
coffee cup areas. I'm
They
gonna go
did-
invent that.
I do remember my son and daughter having
Wow.
a cereal bowl with a straw, with the plastic straw
Yeah.
built into the cereal
Yes,
bowl.
you can
they
suck the
suck
milk out.
when you were done. All right, we're going to take another break here on the Coffee and program. So, Amanda, time for a second message from Navigant Credit Union.
Thank you so much. So today I just want to talk to everybody about senior scams or elder abuse scams. There are a lot of scams going on out there right now. The grandparent scam, the buying something off of eBay or Craigslist and mailing back money, or I'm getting a job as a mystery shopper. Unfortunately, a lot of these scams are geared towards our elder population. Especially when somebody's calling and saying your grandson or granddaughter is in jail and you need to send them money to get them out of jail. It's not always our first thought to say, maybe I should call my daughter or my son and check if my grandkids are okay. It's let me help my grandchild. If you'd like more information on all the scams that are going on out there and how to prevent them and how to be aware of them, visit our website at www.navigantcu. Under our menu and help and resources, there is a link to our elder abuse website page, and you can read about all our scams. Just be informed. Keep everybody informed as well. Visit our website, www.navigantcu.org.
Read all about the scams that you can worry about, not the ones you're producing yourself.
Correct.
Okay.
Read about the scams that are
So you
out
can
there,
protect
and
yourself.
that and how to protect each other. And being able to. It's not it's shameful, right? But it shouldn't
Sure.
be shameful to share that you might have been a victim of something and to prevent somebody else from being a victim of it.
All right, more Coffee Ants coming your way. Stay tuned.
You know, when you're paying the right price for protection, you just know it. It's that warm, fuzzy, totally secure feeling, knowing that you're not only getting great coverage, but you're also not paying too much for it. And when it comes to your insurance, there's no one better at getting the right price for your protection than Allstate agents Kara and Celeste Benjamin, because they know when it comes to your bank account, every penny counts towards something bigger, something better. Like a nicer car, that home update you've been dreaming of, or a phone that's fresh out of the box. Those little or big things that we work so hard for. And Kara and Celeste Benjamin want to help you work a little less by getting you the coverage you need and the savings you deserve when you switch to Allstate. Contact Kara and Celeste Benjamin at the Benjamin Agency. One agency, 2 locations in North Smithfield and Bellingham. 765-5000 for a free quote today. Allstate, you're in good hands. And you're in good hands with Kara and Celeste Benjamin at the Benjamin Agency. Savings vary based on the average annual savings reported by new auto customers surveyed in 2019 who switched to Allstate.
Since its founding in 1996, the Valley Breeze has been the trusted source for local news in the Blackstone Valley. Our readers and advertisers understand that shining a light on all aspects of our communities and doing it with some of the best local journalism anywhere makes these cities and towns better places to live in. We believe that truth has value and should triumph over rumors and misinformation. See valleybreeze.com or any of our 5 editions for more on how you can be part of this local news success story.
You can depend on us for public service. ON Radio.
Okay, it's Coffee In on ON AM and FM. Thanks for joining us. Joe Callahan here, along with Melissa Smith, Amanda LaRose, and John Ward. And up in Massachusetts, the Attorney General, Andrea Campbell, she's joining the U.S. Department of Justice, and she does not want JetBlue to acquire Spirit Airlines.
Oh.
The AG says it would result in higher airfares for people using Logan International Airport. JetBlue is the largest air carrier at Logan. I wasn't aware of that.
Why did
but,
that? Why did I think that? Didn't you tell
Yes.
me that they were the ones that already owned Spirit? I
thought-
thought that
I
JetBlue was.
thought they
I thought
did,
Spirit
too.
was a division of JetBlue.
Maybe I thought.
I guess the merger hasn't gone through
Maybe I guess
officially.
they announced it, but then
Yeah.
it didn't happen yet.
You're right. So
Okay, because I had read the article some time ago about the merger between.
Yeah.
the
So what would be the reason that they'd be against the merger?
they say it's going to raise airfares at Logan.
Huh.
And
At
because-
Logan specifically.
specifically. That's why the AG is against it. I don't see how, but I'm not in that
A
field.
monopoly
so.
on airlines, so
I was
they're
thinking
able
that.
to.
United-
Well,
I'm
United's
sure
there, Southwest is there,
the
Delta's there.
airfares are going to be tied to the fees for the gates they use, and
Yeah.
if they're using the gates of both JetBlue and Spirit, unless they're going to shrink back and there's going to be empty gates and the costs are going to be increased for everybody that uses the gates at Logan, I don't know.
I don't know.
That's a different kind of math I haven't done yet.
I would hope that JetBlue could take over because I just hear horror stories about Spirit Airlines and they could only improve them. So I was always okay with it. So
Spirit Airlines is one of those that you buy the seat and nothing else, right?
yeah.
And then
Oh, you want to?
if you want a peanut, you have to
That's
pay
another
$5.
$50, yeah.
and
They were the ones
want
that when
seatbelts?
if you want a cushion on the seat,
That's right.
Wait, if you want a seatbelt,
Yeah.
it's an extra $20.
I know
right.
somebody.
That's
I know
true.
somebody who's flown a UPS jet down to Florida.
Uh-huh.
They occasionally, when they don't have cargo to haul, they have systems that they just open the jet, they slide the seats in, they lock it down, they sell the seats, and they fly people to a destination where they need to load cargo.
All right. All right. In
It
Massachusetts,
happens. I don't know if it still happens, but I know they did it several years ago.
Dave, John, I don't know if this will take place at or come up at a Woonsocket City Council meeting, but in Massachusetts, the state highest court is ruling that restraints aimed at keeping public hearings civil are a free speech violation. All right. The Supreme Judicial Court finds that the standard should apply even if rude, personal, or disrespectful words are used towards public figures, like yourself.
Okay.
The civility protection were first entered into the state constitution by John Adams, so that goes back quite a while. The ruling comes in a case that was started after a public comment in a Southborough, Massachusetts selectman hearing was shut down in 2018 because of a resident's criticism. And they're saying, no, it's free speech. They can say whatever they want.
Well, that's why, as an astute observer of the written law, I know that public comment at public meetings is not required. And if you want to invite
someone's gonna get rude,
if you want
cut
to
it off.
invite public comment,
Yeah.
to me, all bets are off.
All right.
And so, if we wanted, I hear people scream, "We have a right to speak at a meeting," and it's like, no, you don't. It's a business meeting. We're here to conduct our business. You don't have a right to speak if there's no public comment listed on the agenda.
But it's called a public hearing, though, isn't it?
For public hearing, certain times you are forced to advertise for a public hearing.
All right.
Generally, that has to do with business licenses or zoning changes or comprehensive plan amendments. But general public comment at a regular meeting is not a mandated thing.
All right.
So
you can always go with that. If it
it's-
gets ugly, we say, okay, we're
well,
just
I
going to
mean,
stop doing this.
other than regular meetings, special meetings don't generally invite public comment. So if there's public comment allowed, unfortunately for those who don't like it, it's too bad. Words are simply words. You can call people names. You can shout to the rafters. I'm surprised some of these school boards who have shut down people in public comment who are reading from
those books. Oh, my gosh. Yes, I've seen that.
and they're shutting them down, and I think many of them are in violation of First Amendment rights.
Have you seen those where the kids are
And I'm
reading
a-
the books
I'm a
in their
big-
library? That's basically pornography.
I'm a big fan of
I have
First
not seen
Amendment.
that.
I have-
Oh,
no.
You haven't?
yes.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
They go,
yeah.
well, what it is, they object to the books that they allow in the libraries a lot of times in fifth, sixth
Sixth grade, yeah.
schools. And so, in order to make their point, they take these books out, and often they deal with highly sexualized material that have graphics that show
Acts.
boys and boys,
Yeah.
girls and girls, boys and girls engaging in sexual acts, and they use the language, and so these parents will simply take the book and open it at a public meeting and start reading from it. And of course, the school board people go crazy,
Oh, I'm
and
sure.
they gavel
seen
them
one-
down and
I've
say,
seen
"You
one-
can't do that here."
I've seen one where the
And
kid
they
is
say,
actually
but
reading it.
you give it to the kids.
Yeah.
Right.
It
Yeah,
makes
there
your
was. I
skin
just
crawl.
saw one
It's-
recently
it's
where,
like,
where
oh,
a
gosh.
student, where a
How did I
It was a
miss
student,
sixth grade
that?
student reading
but
it.
they didn't stop the student.
Oh, they didn't?
No.
Oh. Wow.
But technically, then they're in violation because it's
Well,
a public
I believe,
comment
yes, I believe
time.
they are, and they will lose every time in those arguments.
All
But
right.
it's the risk they take by allowing, by, I don't, and of course then you say, well, if you don't allow the book to be in the library, you're book banning. Well, it's a question of, is it book banning or is it providing material that's beneficial at that age?
My understanding of the story that I thought I had heard, which this seems to be a little different, was more of the banning of books surrounding sexuality, not acts of.
Oh.
What are you're
I'll forward
describing more of like acts of versus
I'll forward-
sexuality?
I'll forward some articles to you.
Okay.
So it's acts.
It's
I'm-
acts and
Yeah.
graphic novels.
Okay, because I feel like there's two different topics. I feel like
There's imaging, there's discussion, there's words used that will make you blush, no matter how liberal you are.
All right. Moving on to other things. The ladies, you're fans of Disney, right?
Yes.
yes.
All right. Disneyland is removing lyrics from the Zippity Doodah song in the medley in its Magic Happens parade. It's out in California. According to the Los Angeles Times, the song was removed and replaced in the set list with a song from the 1953 Peter Pan movie. Zippity Doodah is from the 1946 Song of the South film that has been criticized for black stereotypes and a rosy view of the South in its post-Civil War era. The song and characters also appear on the Splash Mountain ride, which has plans to be redone into the Princess and Frog attraction. Same thing down in Florida.
Yeah.
That announcement was made in 2020 after the killing of George Floyd in Minnesota. So it's not even we don't even want to even mention that we have it anymore. So there you go.
I'd have to go look at the lyrics though to see. I know the movie.
The
they-
lyrics
they
itself
You're
complain-
saying the
are
but the
lyrics
lyrics
are
itself
okay.
are pretty.
fine.
Yeah.
But people go back, well,
then
sung,
they connect
look
it
who's
to the
singing
movie.
it in the movie,
No, I know.
and that's
but-
what they criticize it about.
So it's about making a connection that many people. I mean, let's face it. How many people have watched Song of the South within the last 20 years?
One.
Wow.
Amanda says yes.
No, I mean,
Didn't
but it's
expect
not.
on
It's not
Disney,
something
yeah.
that. It's not something that. I mean, you think of Disney, people think of Snow White, they think of
Yeah.
Cinderella,
Right.
all of which will be canceled too, but for other reasons. But I don't. Matter of fact, I don't think I've ever actually watched Song of the South. I like the song though.
It's tough to find. They don't sell it anymore, and I don't think they stream it on Disney
It
Plus.
was on Disney Plus for a little while because that's where I watched it.
Okay.
But that was a couple months ago, so
All right.
or maybe even a year ago. I think
thought-
when Disney first came out.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
it is very hard to find.
You know, I don't like subscribing to a network where they put warnings before all of their movies.
Oh, Disney does that.
I'm kidding because
There'll be
this is not parental guidance is required. It's more about
smoking depictions.
we may offend you. Oh, that's what I love. Do you ever see these the
one?
TV the TV rating that goes up on top of the screen
Mm-hmm.
in the corner and it's got the letters that mean violence
Yeah.
or
VL for language.
sexual situations. I forgot which one it was I was watching. I don't know if it was Yellowstone or one of those series. And up in the corner every time it says adult situations, smoking.
Smoking, yeah.
That's an adult situation
Yes.
now.
It is.
What? They warn you that there's smoking inside the show. So,
they do.
So you may not want to watch
not
it
wanna
because you
watch
might
it.
see somebody smoking.
Yes. And they put stereotypical depictions that you might not like. Anyway, I'm not happy with this. Hershey, the chocolate people,
Oh.
Hershey is launching vegan Reese's. Doesn't that just sound awful?
What
Wait a
makes
minute.
them
Wait a minute. Wait a
vegan?
minute. Wait a minute.
because the peanut butter that's used?
Close. John?
I don't get it.
All right.
How is it not already?
Well, the company announced 2 new dairy-free products. If you use dairy, it's not
It's
vegan.
because it's milk chocolate. Okay.
The Reese's plant-based peanut butter cups in a vegan chocolate Hershey
So they
bar
use-
with almonds
they
and
use
sea
almond
salt.
milk.
No, they're going to use oats. I don't know how this is done. Both are made with oats. Both new candy bars are made with oats instead of dairy, and it's made to taste like milk chocolate.
Well, you could probably take oats and add water and other things to it to make it create a milky kind of substance that would work.
I'm done.
It sounds lousy.
Give me the regular.
Just give me the regular one.
Sounds like crap to me.
And whenever they say we're going to make it taste like milk chocolate,
Nah.
you're probably going to
means
come
you're
up
gonna be chewing
short.
on some oatmeal.
But look for the new candy bars. The new Reese's will be out later this month in March, and the new chocolate bar will
The
be
only
out
thing
in
I can say
April.
is good for them for trying to think of a product that everybody could eat, right? There are so many allergies out there now, so way to be on top of it and trying to reform
Well, they're not.
something.
I don't know if they're going with allergies, though.
It has to be. Or
Well, it's just,
it could be
it's-
based upon an
It's
allergy.
the whole vegan population that
but
we
a lot
can't
of
sell
it is
to.
also because of allergies.
But they're not getting rid of the peanuts, and more people have peanut allergies.
True. Well, listen,
least you're told,
I was giving
so.
them kudos.
I know.
You don't have to.
All right.
I'm more inclined for them to go and market gluten-free. I think I've shared with you that my nephew has celiac disease, and so he's been on a gluten-free diet since
Ever?
I don't know. Yeah, I mean, he's 19 years old now. He's been on it since he was 7, which back even just that little bit of time difference was unheard of. And now I feel like there's lots of people who are not gluten allergy based like he is, but are gluten sensitive or whatever else, myself included. I'd like to see more products be more on that line. I feel like, yeah, because I think gluten's killing our stomachs.
I was surprised, actually. My wife suffered migraines, and one of the things that was recommended that would help alleviate migraines is the frequency of migraines and severity is to reduce your gluten.
Mine included.
Wow.
Yeah, and it does. Believe it or not, I have to
And it
tell you,
worked.
I
It was-
have
It was one of the
had a
things that seemed
tremendous
to make
difference.
a difference.
And when you really start looking into how many items have gluten in it, or the components that are ingredients in certain products that have gluten reactive type components, it's scary. There's like, it's in a lot of products that you don't even realize.
That's right.
It's like a gum. There's a gum based ingredient
Is
that
it?
actually is a reactive for gluten.
All right, we got to run. The show's come to an end. We thank you for listening in, as always. Amanda LaRose, thanks for coming in from Navigant.
Thank you, and happy International Women's Day.
That's right.
We didn't even talk about
Women should-
that.
That's because the man's in charge. And,
Well, next time we're taking over the mic. I'm just saying. Mark your
right.
calendar next year.
Melissa, thanks for coming in today.
Thank you for having me.
All right, John Ward, thanks for coming
How
in.
many X's in woman? Hey, guess what? Spring's coming. This weekend, you're going to move your clocks ahead,
That's
so
right.
that sun will be up until 7:30.
Nice.
And so go out and enjoy the God-given day.
All right, this is Joe Callahan. Have a fantastic day, and Gary Smith and the crew. Do you remember coming up at 9:30 here on ON Radio?
Broadcasting live and local daily from the Navigant Credit Union broadcast studio at the corner of Park Avenue and Kennedy Street. This is WOON Woonsocket Radio. And now, the news. The University of Massachusetts Dartmouth is accused of covering up sexual assault and harassment allegations against a campus police officer. The allegation comes from a